Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Yes, this is Kevan O'Malley, third co-host. I know you guys are really excited to have me back for the 16th episode, but I've been out of commission with COVID since Friday, so the timing just didn't work out for me to come in and record. But I will happily be there for episode 17, whether you want me to or not. See you soon.
Hey guys, it's Brian, aka Beetle. First time caller, long time listener. I've been getting caught up on recent episodes of the show, and I wanted to throw out a couple of recommendations for you. On the subject of war movies, have you guys seen 1917? It's just a cinematic experience all in itself. The whole thing is inspired by how Roger Deakins wanted to approach the film with like a one-shot kind of atmosphere throughout the entire thing. So highly recommend that. More so in the space of what you guys were talking about for violence and the experience of it. Have you seen Sisu? S-I-S-U. Came out in 2022. It's a Finnish movie. It's like a one-man against all story. The central theme is just about the term Sisu, which is a Finnish term about resilience and strength of will and determination. The whole thing could live in a Tarantino cinematic universe. It's very inspired by like that sort of approach. It could fall right in line with Inglourious Basterds, basically. And then on another one, you guys recently talked about Jackie Chan movies and Kung Fu Hustle and what is it, Shaolin Soccer, also a classic. I think that Everything Everywhere All at Once also falls into that same space, that same category, basically. Different feel, a little more dramatic and action focused, and a little bit less cartoony, but it still has a lot of the over the top comedic elements in it. I mean, yeah. So there you go, guys. Have a good one.
You're in big trouble, though, pal. I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast.
You eat pieces of shit for breakfast?
No.
Rolling. Welcome to Breakfast of Champions Season 1, Episode 16.
16.
Sweet 16.
And no Kevan to be found.
I know, Kevin's, we did promise you a third co-host Kevan episode, but he and his family got bit by a bug.
Yeah.
I guess we'll say that.
But we've got him here in spirit with Hulk Hogan. Not Terry, Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan. It says so on his shirt.
Yeah.
So
Hogan 24.
Conflating some ideas there with that shirt. But he's here in spirit. Kevin and fam, rest up, feel better. And we'll get him on just as soon as we possibly can. So 16 means 4 months, right? Yeah. Technically.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel like 4 months.
No. Actually, the start of the podcast coincides almost with my work anniversary at my current job.
Interesting. So you've been at your current job 4 months?
Yeah. End of August was 4 months for me. That's crazy. Yeah, I think we started the podcast like a week or two after I started there.
That's crazy. Yeah. So if you haven't heard of us before, if somehow, some way you just fell into this episode, 16 episodes in, just a quick recap. If you've never joined us before, we are a podcast that talks about breakfast foods and combat sports, or violence, as we like to say. We've been reviewing donuts and cereals and restaurants and recipes. We've also been talking a lot about the UFC and Letway and violence that happens in baseball and football. I'm sorry, baseball and hockey. Well, where did football come from? I'm ready for football season. So check us out. We're everywhere you can find podcasts: YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. If you'd like to rate, review, or subscribe, that helps us out a whole lot. And if you'd like to give us a call and let us know what your favorite episode is, or Kevin, if you'd like to call in and let us know why you're not here this morning, the phone number is 682-294-0101. Also, we have an email address. That's breakfastofchampspod@gmail.com. And we are on social media, believe it or not. So have you seen my Jab daily series I've been doing?
I've been watching them.
I've been trying really hard to provide some sort of 10-minute video every single day, just to kind of help build up our social medias and kind of get some engagement throughout the week, because we only release once a week and then it just kind of like falls off the rest of the week. We have a lot of heavy downloads on Thursday, and then like Monday and Tuesday is like nothing. So I've been trying to hop on for at least 10 minutes every day to kind of give a little preview as to what's going to happen on the podcast, what's been happening in my personal life. And if you've missed it, you have missed s'mores waffles from Waffle House. We tried that last night. A couple of nights ago, we ripped some UFC blaster packs, got some really cool cards. We talk just fun stuff, silly stuff. My kids are in it. You get to see my house and all my pets and all that stuff like that. So
now they know where you live.
I know, right? They're going to come get us. So it's on TikTok and Instagram right now. I've been trying to build up the TikTok. You can't go on live on TikTok unless you have like 100 followers or something like that.
So that means if you're listening to us, go follow us on TikTok.
Yeah, that's what we really need. We need to pump up the TikTok numbers so we can go live on the TikTok. And then, but yeah, if you want to catch us live, we're on Instagram at breakfastofchampspod. Like I said, I try to go live usually in the evening time, sometimes a little bit earlier, depending on what we got going on that day. So
I had a funny thing happen after our baseball episode released last week.
Go on.
So the job that I've been at for 4 months, working in a movie theater, managing it. And I knew that we had a theater rental last Thursday. And I knew the movie, but I didn't think too much of it. We had the world premiere of a movie called You Gotta Believe. It is a Fort Worth story about the West Side baseball team from 2002 Little League team went to the Little League World Series. The movie stars Luke Wilson and Greg Kinnear telling the story of this team. We have 9 screens. We rented all of them out. Greg Kinnear, Luke Wilson were there. And since we had a Sandlot moment last week, Patrick Rinna, Ham from the Sandlot, is in the movie.
That's crazy.
Got to meet him. Didn't get a chance to tell him about my Sandlot moment, which is probably for the best.
Yeah, no one wants to hear about that.
But it was very funny that morning we released our baseball episode, and that night I had actual baseball players and film stars.
Sandlot crossover.
Yeah. So kind of fun happenstance.
Look at you rubbing elbows with the stars.
Yeah. Got to ride in an elevator with Luke Wilson and Greg
Did
Kinnear.
You took a picture on the red carpet too, right?
Yeah, took a picture on the red carpet. That was cool.
I love that.
Luke Wilson was a real nice guy in the elevator because they put him in the smallest theater. They're like, hey, he's really private. He comes out immediately and I was like, hey, where are all the people at? I was like, oh, everybody's upstairs. The cast of the team is upstairs in the big theater. And he's like, take me there. Greg Kinnear was like, yeah, me too. And so we're telling him like, hey, they told us to put you in a small private theater. And he's like, are they scared I'm going to break my chains and go on a rampage?
Oh,
Longo smash. And like started like getting down all low. It was a very Wes Anderson moment of like weird reference and weird actions. But no, it was fun. The kids who played on the team are all now like, they're all a few years younger than me. I think they're all like early 30s. And so all those guys were there that the movie's based on. And the You Gotta Believe title was actually the term was coined by Tug McGraw, Tim McGraw's dad, who was a major league
he was a pitcher.
Yeah. So
I love that. You Gotta Believe. Check it out in theaters with Greg Kinnear and Luke Wilson. Very cool.
Fort Worth story
I'm so
too.
jealous, man. That's cool. I love, like, speaking of like movies and premieres and just famous people and just being in the presence of like people that have worked really hard on something for a really long time just to see. I mean, that's one thing that I think if you're not a movie fan or a film fan that we kind of take for granted is just how long it takes to write, produce, film, and then edit and then actually release a film. It takes years. I mean,
I've got a friend who is a producer. He's produced a bunch of really cool movies, but he's been working on his directorial debut, which is a UFC movie.
Ooh.
Well, maybe MMA. It's affiliated with a UFC fighter, but
Sure.
MMA broad term. And he's been working on that for 6-7 years or more.
We need to get him on the podcast so that way we can talk UFC movie stuff.
I'll see what I can do.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Oh, what's your favorite Luke Wilson movie outside of
Scream 2.
Scream 2 Electric Boogaloo?
He has the minorest role in that.
I've always been partial to his role in Family Stone. I don't know if you've seen that.
It, no.
Dude, if you're looking for a holiday movie that will fuck your shit up, that's the one that we watch every year that like, it's like heartwarming and fucking wrecking all at one time.
Yeah.
It's got Diane Keaton and the guy that plays Coach. What's that guy's name? Judd. What is that guy's name? You remember Coach? Bald guy.
Oh, the TV show. Yeah. I know. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
They're the patriarch and matriarch of this huge family, and Luke Wilson is one of the siblings in the family. Rachel McAdams is in it.
I'm familiar. I don't think I've ever seen it, but
Dude.
I'm familiar with it.
So it's one of, like I said, it's one of the hardest movies to watch, especially if you have family members that like may have cancer or are just dealing with like emotional stuff around the holidays. But his character, he's just so like, he's a pothead and he's just like freewheeling and fun and funny and just like, it almost feels like he's not playing a character. It's like Luke Wilson just, hanging out. But yeah,
maybe it is.
I love that movie so much. And it's one of those, like, people don't really watch it a whole lot or talk about it a whole lot, but I try to watch it. We try to watch it once a year. It's real. Like I said, it's kind of a hard watch. Thanks for joining us. We're here. We're queer. Get used to it. Sometimes you got a Feet Finder account, so that's a little weird. And I'm just kidding. So this week we kind of wanted to have like Kevan in, and we always have these big plans of like, we're going to do this. And then we show up in the morning and we're like, my tummy hurts and I didn't get home till 1. And so today we're kind of just going to shoot the shiz. We've got some Lucky Charms s'mores cereal to try this morning. I've held on to this box for about a week. Whenever I send you the picture of it, I bought it. And then it's just been sitting in my pantry, and my kids every morning go like, Dad, can we have the Lucky Charms s'mores? And I'm like, no, it's for the podcast. Don't touch my cereal. They also like, it's funny. My kids now, I forget. I was taking a picture. So yesterday, both of my kids wanted me to have lunch with them at school.
Nice.
And, my kids, they can never like agree on anything. I've had 2 different fruit flavored cereals. Yeah. So, Faye wanted Chick-fil-A and Rhodes wanted Waffle House. So, yesterday during lunch, I got the s'mores waffles from the Waffle House and I was taking a picture, and Rhodes just under his breath goes, "It's for the podcast, isn't it?" So my kids are like, they're like on the lookout for things that would be cool for the podcast. Nice. And they're like fully,
I love that.
Yeah. Everybody at home really loves the podcast, likes to contribute to it. And then like I have to ask Allie, I'm like, do you mind if I go live for 10 minutes? Cause like usually I need her help with the kids, or like I'm just going to sit, in a room somewhere and talk to my phone for 10 minutes. It's just not normal for people our age.
10 minutes of talking at my phone. I have to do it daily.
Yeah. So this week we've got 2 big things coming up. We've got, a fight on Saturday between Gilbert Burns and Sean Brady. I've been teasing that on the Jab all week. And like I said on the Jab, I think because the Sphere is in 2 weeks, that this card is just not being talked about.
Yeah.
People are not really caring. They're just wrapped up in the drama and the spectacle that is the Sphere coming up in a couple of weeks. So I think we can get into this card a little bit, talk about some of these fighters, give them their shine this week, since this will be released tomorrow before Saturday. And then last night, we had a continuation of the Contender series. And Parker hasn't seen episode 4, so we're not going to go crazy in depth, but there's just one thing that we just cannot not talk about, and that's Eunice Dubin. So we'll get into it today. I got like I said, a few things on the agenda, but mostly it's just going to be like two guys hanging out, having some coffee. And what do you got?
Ooh, I have Bum Energy.
Oh,
do you know Chris Bumstead?
I don't.
Okay. Chris Bumstead is a bodybuilder.
Okay.
He is like maybe the best in the world.
Oh.
And I'm definitely going to misquote because I haven't kept up over the last year, but I believe he has four Mr. Olympia titles under his belt.
Okay.
He is in, I believe, classic physique, which is going to be more like Arnold style. Like, so open bodybuilding is going to be your mass monsters, which those are going to be like just no holds barred. He still has some aesthetic to him. Like he is trying to sculpt his body, not just trying to see how big he can get. So yeah, this is his line of energy. I've had these before. It is fucking delicious. This is the orange sunrise. I'm a sucker for orange flavored drinks, especially first thing in the morning.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to crack this.
Crack that. Let's get some ASMR. Oh, that's pretty good. I like that.
Oh, delicious. Sorry, Madison.
She probably doesn't listen. I'd imagine she would call me in a rage if she actually did listen to this podcast. She'd be like, I hate your podcast. So did you see the jab this week where Gordon Ryan responded to Nicky Rod and all that?
I did.
Yeah. I wanted to kind of circle back on that with you because this that whole last week, the media cycle is really focused on Nicky Rod and his win at CJI and the $1 million that he won. And the fact that the second that he got done winning that $1 million, he put that $1 million up against Gordon Ryan. He said, I want to fight you for this $1 million. Gordon didn't respond right away, but then eventually it got the best of him. And he went on this like crazy long rant about what it is that he was.
It must be good to be like, hey, I just won this $1 million. Fuck it. I'm going to put it up there and challenge somebody. I don't care if I lose it.
Yep.
Like
he actually challenged. And this is the other thing too, is I think is really cool about like MMA and UFC in general and grappling and stuff is that there's so many new fans coming to the sport that you can legit pretend that you've never fought this person before. And some people would be like, yeah, you never fought. Nicky Rod has already fought Gordon Ryan twice. He's lost twice, but he's still putting up $1 million to fight him this third time.
Fuck it.
So yeah, this response is crazy unhinged. Basically, I was making the parallel between the fact that John Jones, the quote unquote GOAT of the UFC, and Gordon Ryan, the quote unquote GOAT of the grappling world, are still being drug into these little tiffs. And then they respond with some of the craziest things like, since you both have my eggplant emoji in your mouth 24/7. It's just crazy. And so Gordon Ryan said he wants to do 2 matches in one night. He wants to fight both Nicky Rod and Craig Jones in the same night. They can either put up $500,000 each or $1 million each. He'll match them, fight them both in the same night. And then he also went on this long rant about how Nicky Rod doesn't understand taxes and how when you win $1 million, you don't actually get $1 million. You get $650,000.
I mean, yeah.
I thought that was funny because Nicky Rod's like, $1 million. And he's like, you don't have $1 million because of tax. Also, I thought this was funny. I didn't mention this in the jab. It says, I've beaten you both a total of 5 times, including 4 submissions. Good luck on that. Matches will not be left up to the judges. Will have minimal ref interference, and thus there will be no time limit, submission only. Athletes will be required to wear long sleeve rash guards and spats with a no roll up rule, since 4 people have already accused you of grease: Mason, Pena, me, and Yuri. Competition will take place when I'm healthy, if I'm healthy, and on a date and platform that I decide. Until then, keep dreaming you'll ever be anywhere near my level after beating guys who can't even make it out of the first day of ADCC. If you don't respond here or publicly, I take this as a no, and I will not respond after this unless I get a clear yes or no to this response. I'm not negotiating. I am the king. You follow my rules or you shut up. And before you bet your newfound wealth, make sure you're not going to default on an IRS payment and end up in jail or homeless, because only one of us actually has $1 million to blow, and we all know who that is. This is mostly a message to Nikki Fraud, because we all know Craig's the ultimate can crusher and wants absolutely nothing to do with any kind of physical confrontation with me. Well, at least Craig will be at the academy helping you prepare for the camp, just like he did for CJI and ADCC. Oh, wait, ... So, I mean, just like a lot of text, and you're the guy. You know what I mean? Don't be like if like Michael Jordan lived in the age of social media and then like somebody goaded him into like, I'm better than you at basketball. Yeah. And then he just goes on this unhinged rant at like 2 a.m. and being like, get my dick out of your mouth. And you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Same thing happened with John Jones. I mean, he has been building up this fight for 2.5 years with Stipe, and he's got this little younger guy named Tom Aspinall that just keeps on, and John just cannot take it. So much so that he's like, again, get my eggplant emoji out of your mouth. I don't know what these guys like obsession is with that, but
yeah, I mean, they struggle cuddle for a living, so
true.
It's a little gay. Not that I'm knocking it, but I like rolling around with the bros too. But no, I mean, I think that the Michael Jordan comparison, yes, but I feel like, again, basketball being a team sport where MMA is very much an ego driven sport. These dudes, you got to be a little unhinged to
clearly
get in there and do that. So obviously the 2 a.m. rants, you know,
yeah,
it is what it is. And who knows what else they're dabbling in.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, John Jones has already been popped for like prostitutes and cocaine and PEDs and all that stuff. So that guy clearly has. Have you heard the John Jones story where they came to test him and he hid underneath the octagon?
No.
So this is like a couple of years ago, like John Jones had already like been popped and USADA was coming around, and I guess he got word that they were on the way to his gym. And so he legit hid underneath like the octagon. He like got underneath it, and they like came and they're like, where's John? We need to test him. And they're like, we don't know. And he's just like inside the octagon, like underneath the octagon.
Meet me under the octagon if you want to take my blood and piss.
He had a really great rivalry with Daniel Cormier, who is now a commentator. We could revisit that in another episode, because there was some really like legendary like shit talk between the two of them. And one of those things is like Daniel was like, you're on coke, blah, 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 blah. And like thinking that was going to be like a downer. And John Jones' response was like, I took coke all weekend long before I beat your ass. He's like, so he was like basically admitting like, yeah, I do that stuff and I can still beat you. So he's kind of a crazy guy. But yeah, as far as like Gordon Ryan, we already know like what his deal is. He's kind of got like, obviously his own brother doesn't fight on his team with him because of issues. So I just thought it was funny. I wanted to revisit that because we did talk about that on that gas station gossip guys episode where we talked about the ADCC and CJI and the $1 million and all of that stuff. So that $1 million is now put up for
$650,000.
Yeah, $650,000. Also, last night when I was watching Contender Series, do you remember a couple of weeks ago where they had the two fighters and Dana was like, you guys can come back in week 10 to rematch? So last night they did say on the broadcast that both fighters have agreed to that week 10 rematch. Right. So here in 6 weeks, we will get to see the rematch of that fight, which is crazy because, again, Contender Series isn't like well-known, well-watched, well-loved.
I have been enjoying watching the Contender Series. I'd seen a few episodes over the last couple seasons, but I have been thoroughly enjoying it. It's very exciting. It's very fun. Everything's kind of hazy, so I may have made this comparison on the previous podcast. But that it does feel kind of like watching like college basketball versus NBA.
For sure.
There's so much riding on it, and I love the passion. I love how they go in and just leave it all out there, or they don't.
Yeah.
Like the fights that are doozies are real doozies, and break the seal. But yeah, you can tell when they're in it to win it, and I love watching those fights.
Same. So while we indulge in this Lucky Charms s'mores cereal that I just poured, that's what you're hearing me open on the podcast. The one that I won't ruin the whole episode for you because you haven't seen it, but like I said, we have to talk about this Eunice Dubin lady here.
Yeah.
So her name is Eunice Dubin. She fought Shannon Clark last night, and the video package before the fight was very, very heavy on Shannon Clark. She is a mother of twins. She's American. So, I mean, they really focused in on her. They're like, yeah, let's hear the English, the English speaking person and not the person that speaks Spanish. So it was very heavy video package on Shannon Clark. She was undefeated. And what was the other thing I was going to say about her? She was undefeated. And she was the favorite going into the fight. So they didn't pay much attention to Eunice Dubin's story before the fight. The fight was 1 minute and 13 long. It was a quick one. Eunice Dubin had what Dana White and the rest of the matchmakers and the broadcast and everybody else agreed would be the greatest knockout in Contender Series history.
Absolutely.
So 8 seasons of what we're talking about, just like these amazing fighters that are doing everything and anything they can to get into the UFC. She left it all out on the line there last night. She was a plus 800 underdog, meaning if you put $100 on her to win, you would have got 800 plus your 100 back. So you would have got almost $1,000 just betting $100 on her last
How
night.
much is that after taxes?
650. I'm just kidding. So yeah, so
Broke
she
boy should
was,
have bet on her.
we really should have. Eunice Dubin went into this fight an underdog and really came out of this fight the star of the night.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to watch it or if you can't watch it, just so you know how this fight kind of played out, her and Shannon traded some shots and it looked like they were going to stand. Eunice Dubin was doing this really great move that's kind of advanced. You see it a lot of high-level strikers doing it where you fake the takedown, you go down almost like you're going to go for a single leg, and she even touches her opponent's left knee with her hand, but instead of going for the takedown, she goes overhand right and just right on the money, knocks starches Shannon Clark. She was out
her soul
cold, bro. And what's crazy too is that like not only was she an 800 point underdog, she came to the United States from Venezuela with not a single dollar in her pocket. So between the translator and Dana, they like got her story, and like Dana gave her a contract before she left the ring. He said, "I don't know what else to tell you. We don't even need to go to the back and pretend that this is a thing you're in." So as the night developed and she started talking to more reporters and they started getting more of her story, 2 really interesting things. One, Eunice Dubin had a coach that sexually abused her. And they really brought that to light on the broadcast. And the same thing that we talked about as far as like placing your faith in someone that is like a martial arts instructor or like a teacher or anyone that has any level of like dominance over you in a field or whatever. That's just like the ultimate betrayal. So she actually didn't fight for 2.5 years because she was so affected by the abuse from her coach. So 1, she was abused by her coach, taken advantage of, but 2, extremely poor, coming from Venezuela. Her and her family have literally nothing. She didn't have I mean, Dana admitted in the post-fight press conference that her coaches and manager were texting with the UFC saying, we can't make it. I'm sorry. We're not going to be there. We just don't have the money to come. Yeah. We don't even have money to feed ourselves. And so they had to explain to them like, oh, we give you a per diem, like we'll take care of you or whatever. She gets to Las Vegas and something happens with her per diem and doesn't get it. So not only does she have no money, but now she can't even eat while she's here in the United States because her per diem gets messed up. So the UFC like staff all rallied around and all went grocery shopping for her and fed her for the week and basically took care of her. And she came out last night, put on a performance, and now she'll never have to worry about money again because she's signed to the UFC. She'll probably get a 5-fight contract, which means guaranteed money for 5 fights, taking that money back to her family in Venezuela. I mean, this is literally a life-changing experience.
And that's what I feel like this show is here for, is for stories like hers.
Yep.
To get them out there and to change people's lives. Like, you see the people who have dedicated their lives to this sport, who have put so much into it. And when you see them getting it paid back and getting what they've worked so hard for and earning what they deserve is awesome.
Yeah. It's like, it's that same feeling where like, you know, you have like this overgrown lawn and then you like just power through and you mow it, that feeling afterwards of like almost like that instant change. Yeah. Like you could see it. And I mean, if you just scroll back up, you can see it in her face, like the joy, elation, the relief. I mean, she really is the example for what this show is. I mean, coming from literal nothing, not knowing anything. I mean, even Dana said, I don't know if you can grapple. I don't know if you are a black belt in jiu-jitsu. It doesn't matter. Yeah. It was just that 1 minute and 19 seconds of pure performance. She starched her opponent. She was extremely humble, extremely grateful, extremely cute. And like I said, this is exactly why we watch the show, is for stories like Eunice Dubin and coming from literal nothing, not having any money to even feed herself for the week. And now she's going to be a star in the UFC. Yeah. I'm excited. I can't wait to see what's going to happen with her. So I'm going to take that out there and let's let's give these these Lucky Charms s'mores a shot here. So
gotta get a bite with
gotta get all
every little.
So I was taking a look at the box and it actually looks like almost like golden grams mixed with chocolate Lucky Charms oat pieces. And then obviously you've got your marshmallow pieces from the Lucky Charms.
Well, have you had the s'more cereal?
Mm-mm.
Okay. That's like a staple in my house. It is literally golden grams and marshmallows and Cocoa Puffs all mixed together in one bag. We rotate cereals regularly. Like right now we've got strawberry frosted mini wheats and honeycombs at home. And we got the stuffed Cinnamon Toast Crunch or whatever.
Oh yeah, how was that?
It went fast. Like one box is like 3 decent sized bowls. We loved it. It was a little bit too sweet.
Yeah.
But it was good. But this is one that is usually in the regular rotation, like every other time we get a bag of s'mores.
That's pretty good. I've, like I said, I've not tried it before. I was not sure what to expect because in your mind, you think Lucky Charms, you have that baseline flavor. But they really nailed the chocolate flavor on the Lucky Charms oat pieces. That's pretty prevalent throughout. And it's a good mixture. I enjoy it. Let me try one more bite.
I'd definitely give it 5 pots of gold. They're always after me, Lucky Charms. Oh, here we go. ASMR moment.
Mm-hmm. I'm such a fan of freeze dried anything. So marshmallows, candy, anything like that.
Have you looked into buying your own freeze drying machine?
I have. It's so expensive.
They sell them at Ace Hardware.
Oh, yeah.
And every time I love Ace Hardware. Every time I go in, I just stand and stare at them like, how many bags of candy would I have to sell to break even? And I do the math every time. And I'm just like, not today.
I'm right there with you. I think this is a solid 5.2 out of 6 pots of gold. I would definitely enjoy this with some milk.
Yeah.
You get nice and cereal milky. I
do like it. I think I like the s'mores and the Lucky Charms better on their own.
Okay. I'll have to try the s'mores cereal.
I buy it by I'm a cereal in a bag kind of guy, more bang for your buck. So I usually buy like the 5-pound bag of the s'mores or whatever it is. It's like the biggest bag you can get. It's like $7. It's just fucking massive.
Do you have one of those plastic containers?
Oh, yeah.
Like Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Now I have the freshest cereal.
God, I love that movie. You know, I have had three significant others tell me that Jason
Segel
in that movie reminds them of me.
Oh, that's funny.
My wife and my 2 exes before her. One of which I saw the movie in the theater with.
Oh. That's a
weird aside.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen any of the rest of the Contender series, it lives on ESPN and ESPN Plus. There are 4 other fights for you to take a look at. Really great ones. The first fight of the night was so good that Dana White got up out of his seat and went into the ring to congratulate both fighters.
Oh, he wasn't in the bathroom?
No. He wasn't taking a leak in that one. So like I said, check it out, catch up. Tell us, who your favorite fighter is. Tell us how much you enjoyed watching this Eunice Dubin get this contract this week. And we will tune in next week to see what they have. They've got several weeks coming up. Like I said, if you caught that 2 weeks ago, it was the first fight of the night. The fighters had a really good pace, and it seemed like one of the fighters won, and the judges gave it to the other fighter. And so at the end of it, Dana was like, "Fight again in week 10, give you some time to rest up." And so that was announced on the broadcast last night that they were actually going to rematch. So catch that 6 weeks on week 10. This weekend, we have a fight night, which means it is a free fight. You don't have to pay for a pay-per-view or anything like that. Just have to have ESPN or ESPN Plus. It is going to be a great fight between Gilbert Burns and Sean Brady. We're going to go down to the bottom of the card because we like to start at the bottom and try to get some of these names right. Started from the bottom. Now we're here. All right. So kicking off the night, we have a featherweight bout between Zigimantas Ramaska and Nathan Fletcher. We have Lithuania versus England. No odds on this fight. Looks like they're probably going to be making their debuts or maybe their first or second fight in the UFC. I like Ziggy Montas's name. That's a very cool name.
That's kind of where I was going.
Ziggy Montas. Yeah, that's how you say it, right?
I think so.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Ziggy Montas Ramaska just for the name alone.
Yeah.
Nathan Fletcher is a boring name. Sounds like corn dogs.
Sounds
and you're
like
from England.
All of his food is boiled and bland.
Exactly. Nathan Fletcher, here's your boiled food. Next up, we've got a middleweight bout between Andre Petrovsky and Dylan Budka. Now, Dylan Budka has one of those... Budka. He has one of those black and white user submitted photos that we usually don't pick him. He also has a really, I don't like this man bun on him. That's a Yuri Prohaska thing.
Cool.
It's super cool.
Yeah.
He is a plus 220 underdog as well. So Broke Boys Betting Club, if you're looking for underdogs to cash in on, this might be a good one because, like I said, you don't know anything about these two, Andre Petrovsky, Dylan Budka. Let's go with Dylan just to mix it up.
Okay.
Andre looks scary AF, but I think like
Andre looks scary, and I don't like Dylan's hair.
I don't either, but I kind of want to like laugh and make money. You know what I mean? Because if you bet 100, you get 320 back. All right, let's go with Andre. He's scary looking. I think if we're second guessing ourselves on who we're going to go. So we have on the first one, we have Zigomandas Ramaska. Second bout, we're going to go Andre Petrosky, United States. All right. Next up, we have a women's strawweight belt between Jacqueline Amorim from Brazil, and then we have Vanessa Demopoulos from the United States. Brazil, United States. You usually have a lot of jiu-jitsu and grappling with Brazilians. I'm not familiar with Vanessa.
I'm not either.
What are we doing here? Want to go America?
Yeah, fuck it, America.
America.
Yeah.
Let's go underdog, America. Vanessa Demopoulos, don't let us down. Next up, we have a featherweight bout between Yi Za and Gabriel Santos. Yi Za has one of those user-submitted photos and is also the underdog. So Gabriel Santos' head looks so like it looks like a pencil with an eraser. You know what I mean? Like it has exactly it has like a pencil eraser type situation.
Yeah. I mean, we usually don't go with the user submitted photo.
We don't.
So do we want to break our own rule and go with E, or do you want to go with pencil eraser?
I think China is a little bit more desperate than Brazil right now.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to go with Yi Jia. Jia Yi or Yi Jia.
Yeah. I feel you on that. It's definitely going to be a scrappy fight no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
Featherweight.
Especially featherweights. They're going to throw caution to the wind. All right. So Yi Jia, you got it, buddy. Don't let us down. Next up after that, we've got a flyweight belt between Felipe Dos Santos and Andre Lima. Seen both of these fighters fight. Again, another like skinny guy, like just gonna be throwing really fast, really hard. I like Felipe in this fight. I don't know if you've got a.
I've seen Andre fight. I have not seen Felipe fight.
Felipe is a little bit taller, I believe. Let's see here.
He's probably got that reach.
He's 8-1-0, so he's only lost the once, and okay. So Manel Kopp beat him last year.
Okay.
All right. So I don't see his stats.
Where are the stats?
I know, right? Poopy. Oh, Andre Lima's undefeated. And his last fights were Raposo and Cervino. This could be a toss-up.
Yeah.
Could be a toss-up. Oh, here we go. I think this will be it.
Thinking about it.
Yeah, so there's their stats. Okay. Let me just Skrillex a bit. Skrillex a bit. So we've got 5. They're both 5'7". So exactly the same height. I didn't know if you expanded it, it'd show their full body. We've been messing up this whole time.
Damn.
It also gives their reach. We've
imagine being 126 pounds as a grown man.
Dude, I
was in elementary school.
I'd have to lose an entire human being to do that.
Yeah. Like sometimes when I see like the featherweight and the flyweight, I'm just like,
anytime I see someone that's my height that weighs under 200 pounds, I'm like, you're disgusting.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. If you're a grown man, and I know these guys could kick my ass, like I know that they could, but if you're a grown man, an adult man, and you're under 200 pounds, you are a prey weight.
Next fight up, we've got a featherweight bout between Isaac Dulgarian and Brendan Murat. Isaac Dulgarian does not have a photo at all. It is just a silhouette. And he is 2 inches shorter and weighs half a pound less and has 1 each shorter in reach. Okay. I've seen all I need to see. Brendan Murat is going to win this fight.
He's going to grapple with his demons.
And then the main the highlight fight of the prelims will be Ryan Spann versus Ovens St. Preux. Seen both of these guys fight. They're both really, really great fighters, light heavyweight. So you're going to be under 225 there for that.
6'5".
Yes, sir. Ryan Spann, I believe, former football player. So that's kind of where you get some of that athleticism from. Ovens St. Preux, another one of those fighters that has been in the UFC for a minute, and I've seen a few of his fights. He's got a few losses on his record. They both do, but Ovens St. Preux lost 17 times. But his last fight was a win, so you never know. Man, that's a hard one. What are your initial thoughts?
I mean,
taller guy?
Maybe. What's I've never seen either of these guys fight. Ryan Spann, how is his grappling? Because again, being a taller guy, those longer levers could work in his.
I think Ovens St. Preux has him on the grappling, to be honest with you.
So,
and also Ovens St. Preux is coming from Haiti. So
I love it. I love the Haitians.
Yeah. Let's go Ovens St. Preux.
Yeah.
He's coming off a win too. All right. On to the main card. We have a lightweight bout with Rong Zhu and Chris Padilla. This is a toss-up. No odds here, but we do have China versus the United States. Chris is looking pretty fabulous with that hair.
Yeah.
I mean, it is.
It reminds me of that Prince album cover.
It
but
does.
Way meaner.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if Prince was ready to fight, which I know he was, but.
Oh, yeah. Prince will take you anytime. I'm liking the titty tattoo on Chris Padilla as well.
Yeah.
We normally favor a titty tattoo.
I mean, it's the U.S. versus China. USA.
All right, Chris Padilla, let's do this.
I can already tell you who I'm. Trevor. Sorry.
It's okay. Lightweight bout between Trevor Peak and Yanal Ashmuz. We're going to go with Trevor Peak. There's no need to discuss this further. Flyweight bout. Next up, we have Matt Schnell versus Cody Durden. Number 11 versus number 15. And Cody Durden, anytime I see the name Durden, I think of Tyler Durden and Fight Club. And he's also the favorite, even though he's ranked lower than Matt Schnell. Matt Schnell has a nice chest of hair, whereas Cody Durden is freshly shaven.
His chest pubes down to his ball fro.
You never know. I want to go with Durden just because of Fight Club.
That's where I was thinking too. Let's do it.
Cody Durden. All right. We're getting up there. We got 3 more left.
UFC Fight Night. Don't talk about UFC Fight Night.
Featherweight bout between Steve Garcia and Kyle Nelson. Kyle Nelson has the longest head I've ever seen ever. And I don't know if that's just that's why he grew his beard out.
What about Steve Garcia's farmer tan?
Yeah. That means he's putting in work on the farm and not in the gym. So
True.
he might have farm boy strength.
Also, U.S. versus Canada. I'm going with U.S.
Steve Garcia, it's getting close to UFC Noche. Don't let us down. All right, co-main event, we have women's flyweight bout between Jessica Andrade and Natalie Silva. Jessica Andrade, former belt holder. Natalie Silva, newer and up and coming. I personally feel Jessica Andrade on this one.
She looks mean.
She is mean. She looks mean and is mean.
Let's do it.
I think she has the experience edge in this one. Okay, and finally, we have the main event of the evening. We have Gilbert Burns from Brazil versus Sean Brady from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, United States. Gilbert Burns is probably going to be in the Hall of Fame, even though he's never captured a championship. He is just one of those guys that is a fan favorite who always lays it out on the line and really gives it his all every fight. Win, lose, or draw. Sean Brady is a newer fighter. He's only lost once. His current loss is to Bilal Muhammad, who has the belt in their division currently. So you can make a case that he's right up there, bubbling, making his strides, kind of getting into his prime, whereas Gilbert Burns is kind of on the backside of his prime, just kind of slowing down. Gilbert Burns is going to have the experience and the grappling. Sean Brady has the power, the youth, and the fact that he's not been knocked out yet. I want to go. My heart is telling me Gilbert Burns, but my head is telling me Sean Brady.
I'm going Sean Brady just because he got some sick tats.
Yeah. Let's go, USA. USA. Plus, he's from Philly. You know.
If he's from Philly, he's got this.
Yeah. Let's do this. So, whoever's in charge of putting in our bets, put those bets in for us, and let's make some money. And like I said, this card is this coming Saturday, not to be overshadowed by the fact that UFC Noche is coming up quickly right after that. Couple of things. I don't know if you've been following any of the drama via this whole thing. So Merab, this guy right here, he's the one that cut himself, and then Dana White called him like the stupidest, basically said that's the stupidest possible thing you could have done. Not only did he do that, but then after his, like, I guess the stitches were healed, he just got some regular old like kitchen shears and not like medical shears, and on Instagram started cutting them out of his own eye. And so I think at this point he's just trolling Dana because Dana's like, that's so stupid, don't do that. And so he's like, I've just got to double down now and keep on like doing the crazy thing.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
The other thing that he did is, I guess he went to Mexico over the weekend, and
I saw this. I saw this.
He started like, I guess, pretending to shoot tequila and dancing around like he was drunk. We're 2 weeks out from the fight. There's no way that this guy is shooting tequila in Mexico and dancing around.
Stranger things have happened.
This is also the same guy who, like, anytime it rains, no matter where he's at, he goes outside and films himself shadow boxing. So there's definitely a video of him standing outside of the UFC PI, like this whole performance institute that's built for making you a better fighter. He's standing right outside the door in the rain, shadow boxing, and someone has like the POV of like him from behind. Like, what is going on?
It's his movie. You're just a walk-on part. He knows what he's doing.
So also, when Sean took the belt away from Aljo, Merab was there, or when they were about to fight, Merab was there. Merab is Aljo's kind of teammate and friend. Sean had on the Thriller jacket, like the red leather zippered Thriller jacket, and no shirt. And so whenever he came into the ring to confront Aljamain Sterling to build up the hype for the fight they're going to have, he took his jacket off and didn't realize that someone had grabbed it from behind him. It was Merab. Merab grabbed his jacket and put it on. And then so for the rest of the night, Sean was like, I guess I don't have a shirt, or I got to go get my jacket back from Merab. What the fuck? There's all these little like little things that basically add up to the fact that this is going to be a fun fight to watch if we even make it.
Yeah.
We still got to make it through. So I wanted to talk to you and kind of our audience about kind of like my process through fight weeks, because I think that a lot of times people think that like whenever there's a UFC fight, Saturday is it. Like everything happens on Saturday.
Ooh.
Yeah. So for those of you that may not know what happens during fight week, typically fighters travel on Tuesdays. On Wednesdays, there's usually a press conference, and then it's either Wednesday or Thursday. And then Friday, they have to do a weigh-in. And so while all of these things are happening, you can actually stream them live on YouTube. So if you want to see the press conference, all you do during fight week is type in UFC press conference, and it'll show you the live event. You can click on it and it'll notify you when they go live. They usually have like a big the first press conference they hold, they usually have like the headliners and a couple of other fighters. Then they have like a weigh-in show in the morning of the weigh-in, and that usually goes for like 3 or 4 hours. And they have 3 commentators that do like games and skits and interviews in between the fighters weighing in. So there's a lot of times where during the weigh-in show, you'll have like the commentators will be drinking. So by like the 3rd and 4th hour, they're kind of schwasty. And so
I feel like what else is there to do during this?
So also during the weigh-in show, that's when you actually see the fighters come out and weigh in officially. This is where you kind of get a chance to see what they're going through cut-wise. When they come out to the scale, are they full of energy or are they looking like they're decimated? Are they like needing help getting to the scale? Are they struggling cutting weight? We've seen people have to take off cut hair, take off underwear. It gets really intense during the morning of. And so after all of the contestants weigh in, they usually have a ceremonial weigh-in later on that evening. Yep. That ceremonial weigh-in is also kind of like a quick hit press conference. They come out and they say like, okay, this person's this person. And they face them off and then they ask them each one question. And then, so you have all these things happening during the week. And when it's a big pay-per-view fight, there's also something called embedded happening, where you have the UFC's behind the scenes cameras going on. And so they release 6 episodes of embedded before a big pay-per-view fight. They come out once a day. They're usually about 9-10 minutes long. And they really kind of show you like the travel days, what they're eating, you know, how they're warming up. And so some of the things that you see is like the fact that most of these people, when they're traveling, they just turn a regular hotel room into their training room. Yeah. They just like roll the mats out, push the beds out to the side.
It actually just looks like Kevin's house.
So it's fun to see like these humongous, like professional athletes, and then leading up in their preparation, they're just like sweaty in their rooms with their coaches, you know, rolling around, you know. So
what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Right. So yeah, it's not just the event that happens on Saturday. There's a lot of things that kind of go on throughout the week. And I know that like on the outside looking in, maybe from the podcast, it seems like, oh, it's kind of weird to only talk about the one event a week or whatever. But there really is stuff that is happening that we constantly are talking about. There's people pulling out all the time. There's people that are, you know, fights are being made, fights are being broken, people miss weight, people talk shit during press conferences, fights are announced during press conferences. So it's just not the one Saturday event. It's kind of something that happens almost every single day through the week during a fight week. And that's kind of where we get some of our content from. So I know that like, I had a friend that was talking to me and they're like, oh, you must do so much preparation for the podcast. And it's true in a sense that like I try to do a little bit of preparation, but for the most part, since I'm already like watching all of this stuff, it just like comes through like social media and like little, you know, little interviews and stuff like that. So although it seems like we might do a lot of preparation and we might know a lot about these fighters, we actually kind of don't.
I'm coming in, I'm raw dogging all of this.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like what's in my feed and then kind of like reporting that in a more concise way, just so we can kind of get everything straight. So, good cereal?
Yeah, no, yeah. I like it. I keep munching on it.
Yeah. What else do you have going on this week?
Not a whole lot. Got a big movie opening this weekend, but do you remember your dreams?
Yes.
I usually don't.
Okay.
But this week, I remember some dreams from last night.
Yeah.
From the night before. Like, well, I say the night, but I slept until like 2 p.m. yesterday. And I've been having weird dreams. But the dream that I had last night that I remember is I signed up for a professional fight.
Okay.
I was like, fuck it. I'm going to sign up for a professional fight with no training. And I think this all stems from me having guilt from not training for so long. Like, I haven't even been lifting weights lately. Like, once every few weeks, I'll get out and swing some kettlebells, which this is like the longest I've gone in years without any sort of training. But I haven't done jiu-jitsu in a couple years. And so I think it's been on my mind heavily. Like, I can't wait to get back on the mats. I can't wait to do this. But yeah, I had a dream last night. I signed up for a pro fight with no training. And I'd hype myself up. Fuck yeah, I'm going in there. I walk into the cage. and immediately just like shit my pants. Like, what the fuck am I doing? Why am I here? I don't want to take any leg kicks. Please don't fucking kick my legs. Don't kick my legs. Like, that is the only thought I remember from the dream is, please don't kick my legs.
I love that.
And then the bell rings and I wake up, and because my alarm, the bell was my
the
alarm
bell was your
going
alarm.
off. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's weird because I hardly ever remember dreams. So 2 nights in a row, and the dream that I had last night was even weirder. Less fight. Like, you were there, Heather was there, some other. It's hazy now because we're so far removed.
Sure.
But we flew in for a UFC event. Like, we took the podcast on the road.
You saw into the future.
Yeah, the broke boys made some money. But before the UFC event, we went to an NBA event.
Okay.
And while we're at the NBA event, I recognize like a friend from high school who is pretty famous now. I'm not gonna get into it.
No names.
Yeah. But I like noticed her doing something like with the basketball team on the court, and she was like, you know how they do like the fun halftime games and stuff? Well, she was like choosing people from the crowd to do that, and like I yelled her real name, not her famous name, and she came over and she's like, hey, yeah, come on. And so got me down on the court. I did like the little game, missed, lost, whatever. But we ended up going and hanging out with her. And then she's like, oh yeah, I'm going to the UFC event, blah, blah. And like, so we ended up doing all this. And again, I don't remember the point of the dream, but I just remember like, this is a friend who I haven't seen in person in probably like 8 years. I haven't even talked to her probably in like 2 years. But it was just really strange, like having dreams both involving fighting, but also just involving weird stuff. And also never remembering my dreams and remembering these.
So I always want to talk to people about my dreams, mostly because there's something that like I've realized about my dreams. My medicine, like my psychiatric medicine, affects my dreams. And I didn't realize that till this year. So I have this like very vivid, almost like lucid dream that's a recurring dream. And basically it's like a place that I've built in my mind that I can return to. And once I'm there in my dream, I recognize that I'm in a familiar location and I can navigate, and like it winds up being the same place. And so maybe like 3 months ago, I was having trouble finding my medication locally. And so I had to switch over to like a mail order service. And there was like maybe 3 or 4 days where I just didn't take my meds. And so I was definitely coming down, you know, and so, but what was crazy is that every single night that I wasn't on my meds, I had these like crazy, vivid, recurring, like going back to the same place, recognizing people, them, you know, almost like recognizing me going back to that place or whatever. So this last time, when I realized what was going on, it was because we were dog sitting at that house and I had forgotten my meds at my house. And so I had 2 nights in a row where I didn't take my medicine. And I immediately, whenever I go to my, you know, into my dreams, I'm back at that place from a few months ago, the same like place that my brain is built. And this time I remember like, oh, don't forget this. And so I start, like before I zap out of the dream, I like, because I know where everything's at, found like the family photo albums and stuffed 3 of them in my shirt and was like, all right, I'm out, guys. And like left the dream. So as soon as like I come out of the dream, I start saying like in my mind and in my head, it's like, oh, it's the medicine. It's the medicine. And so I was talking to Phil about it and like, I was kind of like sussing it out. And it's like, I think what this place is like, kind of like my Akashic Records family almost. Yeah. Where like these people know me and I know them, but it's because I was them at one point in time. Okay. And so the photo albums that I took, they were just pictures of me at different points in time in like relation to I was this person and that was my life that I had.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where like, I don't know like what you believe in as far as like what the point is of like existence and the fact that like we're all interconnected or whatever, but like just like being able to go to a place where I'm like, oh, this is like all the rest of like my souls throughout time. And so I can only get there if I stop taking my medicine.
Oh, that's tricky.
Yeah.
Have you read Journey of Souls?
No.
Ooh, you should check that out.
I will.
It's all about like how we're reincarnated throughout every life.
Yeah.
And it's been around, I want to say it was written in the 60s or early 70s. Super interesting book. Some people have tried to disprove it, and there's some pretty good cases against it. Sure. But there's so many case studies in it that are so similar, and the people didn't talk. They didn't know each other. And it's all under hypnosis. Mm-hmm. It's super, super interesting and worth checking out.
I would love to be hypnotized.
I don't want to be hypnotized.
I do, just because I feel like I do such a good job at recreating and explaining all of my dreams as it is right now. Like I can really remember my dreams and really kind of like, if I had a good enough like working knowledge of like CAD, I could probably like give you a 3D replica of like what everything
Build
is
in
and stuff.
Minecraft
or Fortnite. But yeah, so the band that I was kind of like starting and but after Unspell, like kind of now, is called Mall Dreams. Because the one place that like I can always like talk about and reconstruct and tell people about is like there's definitely a mall in my brain that has like a very specific layout, and like there'll be times where like I go to the mall, we're driving around the mall or whatever, and it is the same mall, like escalators, like, and it's probably just an amalgamation of malls that I've been in before, like childhood malls. I mean, my first job ever was in a mall. It was at Hewlin Mall. So, but I started thinking about it, and it's like our kids are not really going to have the same experience with malls that we did.
False.
Yeah.
I take my kids to the mall every chance I get.
But they're not the same.
It is, but it isn't.
Yeah.
I mean, Aiden is about to be 15. Last year, he spent a lot of, like, I would just drop him off at the mall with his friends and then hang out there for a few hours.
Yeah.
Ava is constantly, she's 10. She's constantly, let's go to the mall. Take me, I want to go shopping at the mall.
Yeah.
But also, like, growing up, a lot of my favorite memories happened at malls and movie theaters, video rental stores.
Yep.
I took Aiden to rent videos when he was a kid. Ava went, but she was too little to remember. Like the last time she went, she was 2 or 3. So she doesn't remember, but Aiden remembers renting videos. And I know kids who are in their 20s who never been to a Blockbuster, any sort of video rental place.
What a sucky life.
Yeah. But no, like my first job was at a movie theater at a mall. My second job was at that same mall. I worked at 2 video rental stores. I'm back working at a movie theater.
Yeah.
No, I
living your childhood dreams.
Yeah. I've come full circle. 20 years ago, first job was a movie theater, and here I am.
I think about that all the time. Like if you told 18-year-old Renee, like at 41 or 40, you're not going to have like a real quote unquote job. You're still going to be like trying to pursue creative endeavors. You're still going to be like loving sneakers and bands and sports and stuff.
I think that's the thing that I've realized as I've gotten older is all of the stuff that I loved when I was younger, I still love. And I've just kind of found ways to make them keep working in my life.
Yeah.
And that I care less about what other people think, as like from when I was younger. What's up, Greg? It's a Benny Keith driver. But yeah, no, I mean, when I was like 18 working at the movie theater, I worked at the movie theater and Virgin Megastore at the same time.
You had the media on lock.
Yeah. And then I quit the movie theater to go full time at Virgin Megastore. But, I remember as a teenager telling my dad I would rather flip burgers for the rest of my life than have like a corporate desk job.
Yeah.
And I've had a couple corporate desk jobs, and they kind of sucked.
Yeah.
And they don't feel fulfilling. And I have to be moving and going, and I can't just sit still. Like, yes, I can sit down and do spreadsheets and do all that stuff, but I need a balance of,
sure,
cool, hey, I did 2 hours of computer work. Now I'm going to go cook some food, or I'm going to go run around and do something. I need that stimulation of, and also, and this is a weird thing to say, especially looking back, like telling younger me this, I enjoy customer interactions. Like I enjoy being in customer service and like talking with people, getting to be part of their like special moments and those memories that they're making. Like with the movie theater, some of my favorite memories with my family growing up and now with my kids have happened going to the movies.
For sure.
So getting to be a part of that and making sure that these people are having a good time and like being well taken care of. Same with like food service, cooking food, getting to see people get excited about what they're eating and share it with people that they care about. It's really weird because, again, I never thought I'd be that person that's like, man, I really love like seeing people happy and giving good customer service.
I'm the exact same way. I told my mom, my dad, everybody that I knew, like girlfriends growing up, I'm like, I'm never having kids. I'm going to be George Clooney for life.
I think that was one of the first things I ever told Heather was like, never getting married. I'm never having kids. And her response was challenge accepted.
Yeah. Now I've got 4 kids and I teach kids once a week. So clearly, especially if you're a younger person, like don't set any hard and fast boundaries for your life because some things are going to change and you're going to feel completely 100% different than you felt when you were 18, 19 years old. But some things that don't have to change are like continuing to pursue your passions, finding joy in things that other people may find silly or not worth their time. That's kind of what sports are for me. It's like, I like being a nerd and like, you know what I mean? Like there's not a whole lot of people that are out there watching UFC like to the level, you know what I mean?
I have a hard time keeping up with sports.
Yeah.
Same with TV shows. Like I am very much, you put a movie on, I can watch the movie, I can read about the director, the cast, I can give you facts about that. But if it is an ongoing long-term thing, whether it's a 10-season TV show or a full sports season, I got a couple in me and then I'm like, all right, cool. I'll tune in. I'll catch the highlights. But when it's long form, I have such a hard time keeping up.
Sure. Yeah. That's kind of the exercise in this for me too, is like, I don't want to do the jab every single day. There's like, for me, I feel like I don't have anything to talk about. I'm not talking to anyone. I'm not really doing anything. I'm just kind of attempting to make something be consistent. And I think that looking back on the 16 episodes that we've done, I think that that's one thing that you and I have like kind of grown past, of like pushing past like, oh, I don't want to do this. And then we just do it anyway. Yeah. And then it winds up being usually okay. That's something the podcast has taught me because like I'm a huge like, oh, I don't feel good. I don't want to do it. You know what I mean?
I like to push through my uncomfortable situations. Riding my bike up here while my tummy hurts. Yeah. But no, like that's something else that as I've grown, I've realized I like to sit in the discomfort because I learn more about myself by doing things when I don't want to do them.
I'll let you sit in my discomfort so that way you can learn for me.
The ice bath.
Yeah.
Like sitting in that discomfort and realizing, hey, this really isn't that bad. Like it sucks momentarily, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not that bad.
It wasn't.
And, you know, you can do that with your job, with shit that's going on in your personal life. Like being able to be like, man, this sucks right now, but it isn't forever. It's momentary and it will pass. And, you know, going to the gym, doing that, like starting like, oh, hey, I'm going to go check out jujitsu. I've never rolled on the mats before. Man, this sucks. This is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
but you sit in it and you keep doing it, and it gets less uncomfortable until you learn something new and you start all over again. But yeah, I think that's one of my big things that I've realized about myself is I like the discomfort because I learn so much from it.
I agree with you there. I am not at that point in my life. I can be honest enough with you to tell you that I'm not at that point in my life. I'm a big avoider of discomfort.
I mean, it depends on the day for me. Some days I'm just like, fuck it, I'm going back to bed. But I always try to at least push through as much as I can.
Yeah. So we've been going for about 1 hour and 13 minutes. So we're going to wrap up here shortly. I just was looking quickly at Twitter because something that I saw, and I wanted to, like, I thought we already did this. Do you remember when Drakus fought and he beat Israel Adesanya?
Mm-hmm.
And then immediately Alex Pereira posted a picture of himself and was like, I'm going to come get that belt back.
Yeah.
Well, yesterday he posted the exact same picture with almost the exact same message. And the MMA media treated it as if it was brand new information. And I was just like, wait, you and I, we saw that. Like, I sent it to you. It already happened. But yesterday it bubbled back up as if like it was brand new information.
Weird.
And so I'm just like, I went back to kind of see like what the deal is with that. And I guess basically the only difference between the posts are he is definitively saying that no matter if he wins or loses versus Khalil Roundtree, he's coming back down. But it's not as if he didn't float that idea out the night that Drakus won to begin with. So there's a couple of different like war of words that are happening right now. He basically put out that picture, said, I'm going to come back down. No excuses, blah, 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 blah. And then Drakus immediately diverted and was like, you and Sean Strickland can have a domestic dispute over who gets slept first. And so Drakus, like, I guess, said that he would fight him. And then the second that Alex made a definitive statement that he is coming back down to fight him, he's like, nah, you got to fight Sean Strickland first to see who's going to fight me. So I don't know. It was really weird. It made me feel like a little bit of deja vu-y yesterday as far as like when I was taking a look at my feed and like, I mean, the picture is exactly the same picture. He didn't even use like a different picture. And so I was just kind of confused as to why like the MMA media and like fans in general were like, so it's the exact same picture.
Oh, weird.
I mean, the one that I sent you of him sitting in front of him wearing, watching him win. And he just says, you know, no matter what, he's going to go back down one more time for the belt. Hey, Drakus, bring your will to fight me so you can prove that you are better than me. With your public statement, it is easy to make this happen. Shama. So I just was like confused as to why we're like revisiting this idea as more like definitively and the MMA media acting like this is new information. So that's an interesting thing. Alex Pereira is the current belt holder at 205. He was the belt holder at 185 after defeating Israel Adesanya. Izzy got his belt back, then lost it to Drakus. Drakus has it, or actually, sorry. Izzy got his belt back, lost it to Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland lost it to Drakus. Drakus has it now. They're kind of deciding like what to do with that division. I was really hoping that Alex Pereira would move up to heavyweight and get that third belt in the third division, but apparently he's taking this Drakus fight way more personally / seriously and is going to go back down to 185 one more time. Don't understand that. Don't understand why it was like
pray wait.
Yeah. Yeah.
Please don't hurt me.
One leg kick from Alex Pereira.
For real. I don't ever want to take a leg kick.
I love that that's what you were dreaming about. You were just like, please don't kick my leg.
Like, you can punch me in the face as much as you want. Just please don't kick me in the legs.
For sure. Let's see here. Just quickly taking a look. I think we're good to go. Yeah, we should be good. I was taking a look at my messages that I sent back and forth to you and also to Breakfast of Champions because like I'm like, oh yeah, don't forget this.
Yeah.
I thought there was one thing.
I got a breakfast thing that I've been doing lately.
What you got?
It's real simple. Super simple, and it's been hitting the spot for me.
Let's hear it.
A little bit of jasmine rice,
Mm-hmm.
and then a fried egg on top.
Ooh.
Like over medium. Hit it with a little bit of like flaky salt, a little bit of olive oil. Perfect.
That sounds really good. You don't typically get rice for breakfast around these parts. That's more of like a Japanese type situation.
I've been trying to eat super simple lately. And so I've been eating a lot of rice, and for breakfast, that's been like nailing it for me.
Interesting. There is a Hispanic, I guess, dish that my mom made a lot whenever I was a kid with the leftover rice. It was arroz con leche.
Ooh,
have you ever had that?
Yeah.
It's really good. If you ever have leftover white rice, just put some milk and some cinnamon and some brown sugar and stir that bad boy up. It's kind of like a porridge, rice porridge.
My dad used to do that when I was a kid. If we'd have leftover rice, usually not cinnamon, usually just sugar, milk, and rice.
Yeah.
And microwave it for like 30 seconds or a minute and good to go.
So good. All right, friends. Once again, if you'd like to holler at us, our phone number is 682-294-0101. Our email address is breakfastofchampspod@gmail.com. And again, if you're listening to my voice, let's pump up those TikTok numbers so that a way we can go live on TikTok, and we'll like do some battles and and make some money, make some change from you guys sending us like hearts and roses and stuff like that. In the meantime, catch me every day on Instagram on The Jab, our daily little hit for you. Hope you have a great week. Check out Contender Series Week 4. Tell us about how much you enjoyed that Eunice Dubin fight. And we're going to be watching Fight Night this weekend, and we'll give you our thoughts on that next week. So see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.